You know what I love? Sleeping. I'd take a guess that we all love sleeping, even though it might be seen as XP waste, but sleeping is just great. You know who else loves sleeping? This guy. Good old Guthix. He slept for a super long time before getting woken up to banish some gods, and then he went straight back to sleep, so you could even call him a seasoned pro at the game. But while he does sleep, what exactly is going on in Gielinor? I did predict that this would be one of the quests coming into the game in one of my previous videos, although the signs were obvious as well. While Guthix Sleeps, or WGS for short, is going to be the 14th quest in the Mahjarrat quest series, coming at some point in 2024. A lot has happened over the 21 years since the beginning of the questline, so let's take a look through them and let me break it down for you. Treat this as a TLDR, as covering every intricate detail of every quest would make this video considerably more lengthy. We start with the dig site. Though the premise is quite innocent, with us as the young innocent adventurer wanting to become an archaeologist, we travel to Varrock Museum to pass a test, so we can take part in the excavation of the city of Zarosian. Through various means we attain our Earth Sciences level 3 course, probably a higher honour than my degree, and we take part in the excavation of this ancient city. Though, after creating a chemical compound to get rid of some bricks, we come across a chamber which houses a large Zarosian symbol, which turns out, if you didn't know before, that Zarosian was built over the ruins of Zaros' capital city of Sentistan, and we've just uncovered the Temple of the Empty Lord. If I mention the word cult, you may think that I'm about to start talking about the mid-80s or 90s where every part of the world had some kind of world-changing cult idea, but the next quest on our list is Haziel Cult, in which we're tasked with stopping the cultists from resurrecting a Mahjarrat named Haziel. Though, if you're feeling especially mischievous, you can instead join the cult and assist them, though regardless of what choice you make, it doesn't have much impact, apart from a minor effect on a quest in the future. Either way, Haziel will be resurrected, and we shall meet him soon enough. Coming in at number 3, we have Fight Arena, where we get to help a lady rescue her husband and son from the Fight Arena. What is the Fight Arena? Well, if I told you, that would be breaking the first rule of the Fight Arena. Lady Serval's husband and son were kidnapped by General Khazard, another devious Mahjarrat, and though we succeed in saving Sammy, the son, we're forced to become a fight slave and kill numerous creatures to rescue Justin, the father, killing an ogre, scorpion, hellhound, and finally General Khazard. Though the latter is optional, it's not like he's gonna stay dead, is it? Once we get the family out of there, we go about on our merry way. Double trouble is all I can say for our next quest, with 2 Mahjarrat being featured, Akthanakos and Anakra. Basically, a sculptor asks us to deliver unto him 32 kilograms worth of sandstone to make a base for a statue, before having another 20 kilograms for the body, so with only the head missing of the statue, we get to choose of what head to carve. We can choose our own head, though that doesn't exactly fly with him, his head, a camel head, or a god's head, though we only have 2 gods to choose from, Ikvaran or Zamorak. Once we attach our chosen head, it falls through the ground and creates a large gaping hole in the desert, and as we peer into the abyss, Lyzeum pushes us in. Nice one. Being trapped in an ancient temple, we dissect the statue and use different parts as keys for different doors to rooms within. Throughout our adventure within the temple, we see cutscenes of a woman named Anakra and a camel-headed man named Akthanakos. Though Akthanakos attempts to persuade Anakra to abandon Zamorak and join Zaros' side, he is betrayed at a later date and is frozen by Anakra. We encounter Anakra later in the dungeon, where she attempts to attack us, and we very quickly make friends with a bone guard, who, after we help free him, turns out to be the very same camel-headed bloke that we saw before. The two then face each other, and they announce how they'll battle in the north before they disappear. I get sibling rivalry, but Jesus, don't want to get in between those two. The feud's been going on for thousands of years. Temple of Ikov is a relatively quick quest, having us infiltrate the Temple of Ikov in order to steal the Staff of Armadil. Yep, that is the same staff that Zamorak used to achieve godhood. We're asked by a hooded figure, who turns out to be Lucian, another Mahjarrat, So once again we get the choice of either siding with him or going against him and trying to kill him. Either way though, Lucien gets away, which isn't really surprising. These Mahjarrat are really slippery folk. Being one of the latest quests introduced in the series within Old School, it's a backport from RuneScape 3, and has us investigate and eventually discover an invasion by the Mahjarrat Zamorigal to take over and destroy Varrock. Which, to be fair, he's tried it before, so it's kinda telling he'd try it again. Our investigation begins by speaking to Elias White, a very interesting character, or as he's referred to as a wise explorer. He tells us of reports about zombies being organised in the wilderness, so it's time to get our Sherlock caps on. Our investigation leads us to a trapdoor that houses an underground base for the Mahjarrat Zamorigal, where he is raising an undead army with his general, Mahjarrat. Where do they get these names from? And also, an undead Arab is there. In order to defeat the army and hopefully Zamorigal, we go to the city of Kamdozal and seek aid from the Imkando dwarf located within. Going into the Dream Theatre to speak to Arav, he explains to us that we need to have the blood of one of the founders of Varrock to activate the Shield of Arav's true powers. They use the shield to slay all the zombies invading Varrock, which is cool. I mean, we can't really lose the Grand Exchange now, can we? We also get a cutscene of Zamorigal and Mahjarrat retreating, once again talking about the North. Desert Treasure 1. What a big one. Who doesn't love treasure more than us? Well, Asgarnia Smith I guess, but he is our first point of contact in the quest. We essentially need to help him gain access to a pyramid, and this pyramid is locked until we get 4 diamonds of Azanadra. Ice, Shadow, Blood and Smoke. I'll link the wiki page for this quest if you want to read through every single step, but I'm basically just going to summarise. The Smoke Diamond sees us enter the Smoke Dungeon, and inside we need to light certain torches to make it through into the inner chamber where we fight our first boss, Farid. Farid is a guardian of the Smoke Diamond, and will disarm us if we're not wearing ice gloves, so you could say he's a fiery boy. The Shadow Diamond sees us entering the Shadow Dungeon, after we obtain a Ring of Visibility from Razzolo. The place is like a maze, but let me tell you, it's not a fun one where there's a big treasure chest in the middle as a reward for completing it. No, it's one of those stinky ones where it's really dark and you fight a boss in a multi-combat area. We come across Damus, who has the Shadow Diamond, and he has 2 forms like any decent boss. His second form sees him attacking faster while draining our prayer, which just isn't nice at all. To obtain the Blood Diamond, we need to travel over to Mauritania. We create a silver pot that's filled with blood, garlic and spices, which would sound nice if it wasn't for the blood, and venture into a graveyard to kill a tier 1 vampire. What a loser. We're instructed to kill him by Malik, a vampire who notices us during one of his little trips to collect blood. Though, after we kill Desus, it turns out that Malik actually just wanted him dead, as the tier 1 vampire wanted Malik dead, so I guess we took out the greater of 2 evils? Either way, Malik reveals himself to guard the Blood Diamond, and gives it to us after we accomplish the task. And finally, the Ice Diamond. Though this one is a little bit more wholesome as we do reunite a troll child with his parents, we do need to climb through caves filled with ice trolls and pathways littered with ice wolves, so it's not the best, to be fair. We fight Camille, and the area we fight him has our stats draining quite quickly, so we gotta kill him fast. Or just bring super restores, I guess. Once he's dead, we use some fire magic to free his parents before the ice troll gives us the Ice Diamond. And with the 4 diamonds in tow, we go to the Jaldrak pyramid and insert the diamonds into the pillars, activating them, and opening the doors to the ancient temple waiting inside. Making our way through, we arrive inside an altar room and speak to Azanadra, and he tells us he's lost track of time, thinking the God Wars are still going on. Catch up, old man. Varlamor's just been released. He thanks us for releasing him and gives us access to ancient magics, a PK's wet dream. Moving on to the first mini-quest within the quest series, we have Curse of the Empty Lord. This is the quest that allows you to obtain the Ghostly Robe set, which you will need for another quest, but I'm sure it's handy if you're into Fashionscape as well. In this quest we speak to Valdez the Explorer. We learn that he's part of the whole little scuffle that Zamorak had with Zaros, hence the curse part, though his part is less devious than others. He tried to deliver the staff to Saradomin, but was killed by Renard. But though his part in the events that transpired were minimal, he was still part of the chain that led to Zamorak getting the Staff of Armadyl and defeating Zaros, so tough luck, buddy. Funnily enough, that is the tale that we learn throughout the quest. As we speak to Renard, who says once he killed Valdez, he tried to sell the staff to any interested party. So he enlisted Karim, the messenger, to offer the god staff up, and of course, Karim had brought none other than Zamorak to buy the staff. We also speak to Lenissa, who is a Saradominist spy that learned of the Staff of Armadyl, and Dalek, who betrayed Lenissa and Saradomin by using a concealment spell on the god staff so that Zamorak would face Zaros and sneak in the weapon. And of course, we also speak to General Vigora, who was one of the main usurpers of Zaros and was present when Zamorak took on the Empty Lord and defeated him. I've got a video about the fall of the Zarosian Empire if you're interested. The General's Shadow is a relatively short quest that's a sequel to both The Curse of the Empty Lord and Fight Arena, where we get to see our old pal General Khazard again. Though he doesn't recognise us as the mighty, brave, handsome and strong adventurer who killed him, we do eventually get him to give us a quest. We visit 4 scouts that are located all around Gielinor, and once we return, he gives us a severed leg and tells us to go to a cave to get our reward, which, surprise surprise, the ghost of Bouncer shows up and attacks us. So I guess there's still some hard feelings about the whole killing thing, but yeah, that's about it. We really do like to look at the nicer side of people, and when a lowly monk asks us to aid him by making a new weapon for a group of warriors, who are we to deny the humble servants of their chosen god? Well, fools, really. This one actually sets in motion a series of events that just aren't too great, but when don't things go wrong? We create, drumroll please, the bow sword. So if your dream was to become a warrior hunter hybrid, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you can't actually use it. Once we give the sword over to the monk, he asks us to take an orb to the church on Entrana, since he can't. Not shady or devious, just one small favour for one monk. So we stash it in a large pouch and take it to Entrana. We sail on over to the island, and as we enter the church, an assassin wielding the very bow sword we made teleports in, kills a monk holding a relic, and disappears. Probably don't have to tell you that the orb wasn't a gift, it was actually a teleportation orb, which is really devious, I guess. But keep the relic in mind though, that will be important later. If we do try to return to the monk who gave us the initial task, he seems to be missing, and replaced with a dead monk who was killed with seriously strong magic, and this is where the Temple Knights get involved and start investigating, but that's a tale for a video I've already made, I think. We all love small favours as well, especially when it's just one small favour, isn't that right? So when a strange old man who's been in the Barrows since 2005 asks us for one small favour, we can recount the 1 or 2 times we did small favours and smile at the fond memories of those favours. I feel sick even saying that. But to be fair, this favour is actually small. It's just defeating all 6 Barrows brothers and getting the strange icon for him, but again, keep this icon in mind for later. Probably the most unlikely team up of the century, Secrets of the North has us teaming up with General Khazard and Haziel. Crazy. Like, who would have thought we'd be teaming up with those guys? But for 60,000 agility experience, I'd probably do the same. Cyril Carnelian is dead, as we once again have to play Sherlock. Searching the home, we find the Khazard amulet with a name engraved, and go on a short manhunt to find Everlot, who decides to attack us once we track her down. Though once defeated, she does explain how she was actually hired to steal a scroll so the murder wasn't on her hands. It's revealed that the Haziel cult, who Everlot delivered the scroll to, didn't hire her either. So, who did? Well, we make our way to the Haziel cult once again to speak to Haziel, and he summons Khazard to discuss how the third party who's orchestrated the events has been framing them. Agreeing on searching the victim's home again, we find a dusty scroll that once the 2 Mahjarrat inspect, decided it's time to go north, baby. So pack your skis and goggles, because we're going to Gorok. or the underground bit at least. So we pop into Weiss and learn that there was a recent cave-in below the troll village, and Goatpoo reported seeing moving shadows when he investigated it. Going down ourselves to investigate, we make our way into the prison, and we're attacked by the same assassin from Devious Minds, wielding the bow sword. Though we manage to subdue him, he vanishes once again, like the slippery serpent he is. We explain to General Khazard how we know him. Haziel suggests that a third Mahjarrat may be nearby, with the other half of the crest required to unlock the main prison, so we once again investigate. Going through the prison, we solve a few puzzles, and go through numerous notes to obtain an icy key that allows us to gain access to a mysterious crevice in the wall. What's through the crevice? A strange creature, or the Phantom Muspa as it's called later, a creature that can attack with all 3 combat styles, so keep your wits about you. Defeating this monstrosity, he transforms into the Mahjarrat known as Yalan, before being teleported away by the assassin. Haziel and Khazard learn of this and figure out that the assassin can utilise the Shadow Realm, which is not a realm for the faint of heart, and begin to secure the prison, bringing an end to the quest. I'd love to say that this is the last we deal with the Mahjarrat, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Asgarnia Smith and the Temple of Doom, or just Desert Treasure 2. If you thought Desert Treasure 1 was big, then it's time to expand your horizons because DT2 is much bigger, and honestly, probably one of my favourite quests within the game, given the storytelling and the bosses that are introduced. I've also got a video on the lore behind the quest, so I'll link that. I will say sorry for the audio quality, but take this section as being a lot shorter than the 15 minutes of that video. Starting the quest at Asgarnia Smith once again, but this time at an actual vault that may house treasure. He tells us to inspect the 4 statues inside the main chamber, which contains a locked floor door. Vard Orvis, Perasaya, Duke Sukelis, and the Whisperer are the names listed on each statue, and oh boy, aren't they some joyful creatures. We travel to the dig site, and through some spelunking, after getting some advice from Dr. Banneken, we fight an ancient guardian, speak to an ancient golem computer that gives us information about Zarosian Empire, and where to find the 4 names listed. Curiously enough, when we inquire about the last search term, we find out that it was the Frostenhorn. Through various means and adventures, we come across and kill Vard Orvis, Duke Sukelis, the Whisperer, and the Leviathan, as he destroyed Perisaea's ships. Though I should mention that when we go to fight Duke Sukelis, we do come across Yalan once again, who we have to subdue, alongside the assassin that tried to kill us once before, and that when we go to fight the Whisperer, we do end up dipping in and out of the Shadow Realm. Defeating all 4, and making some friends along the way, we present the medallions to the 4 statues before being knocked out, imprisoned, and having to fight the mysterious figure that's kept appearing to try and attack us during our quest. Once we get to the vault and enter the main chamber below, we will get some shock twists. The majority of the characters, some we've known for years, are not who they seem. Dr. Banneken is Azanadra, and the artifact we've just unlocked is the Elder Horn, something that grants absolute control when sounded. Yikes. This is where we find out that the Frostenhorn was destroyed while we were running around Gorok being chased by Yalan, and that the vault was designed specifically to prevent Mahjarrat from opening it before the big reveal. Asgarnia Smith is none other than Sliske. Well, Sliske was also Mia Perston, an anagram for I Am Serpent, Kasson Shaw, Kettler, and the Assassin. So he's been playing us for fools for years, and it turns out that he's doing it for his own agenda, telling us how their sacrificial ritual will lead to their extinction, and he's going to use the Elder Horn to break the cycle. Then everyone gets into a big fight, and we fight the shades of the allies that we thought we had. Though we succeed in defeating them, as we turn our eyes to Sliske, he teleports the Elder Horn away, telling us we'd make a worthy vessel, before exclaiming how he'll see us in the north. Everyone goes their own ways, and Azanadra realises that the Zarosian Mahjarrat will need to work with the Zamarakian supporters to stop Sliske. He does apologise to us for the whole deception thing, which is nice, I guess. It's pretty much confirmed that the quest is essentially a backport of the original that was released in 2008. So we can imagine that although it may play out largely similar to what those veterans have experienced, elements will be changed to not only match modern day quests like DT2, but that the ending will be different as well, as it'll be setting the stage for Sliske's grand plan and the Mahjarrat storyline in general. So let me run down the basics of what happens in while Guthix Sleeps in RuneScape 3, and forgive me if I do get anything wrong. I've never actually completed the quest, so if you'd rather get the prediction and skip the recap, go to this time on screen. The whole quest begins when a druidess wants to build a temple in Karamja dedicated to Guthix, but when you go to speak to her, she explains that there is no actual plan to do that. It turns out that this expedition is just a cover for the real operation of the Questline, combating the threat of the Mahjarrat Lucian, the lovely chap that we meet during the Temple of Ikov, and he's trying to achieve the status of a god by utilising the Staff of Armadil. Eventually, by following a breadcrumb trail of clues, we end up finding the base of a mage named Mahjarrat, a henchman of Lucian, which we can find out early in OSRS, as when you pickpocket him, he has a pendant of Lucian. Solving puzzles throughout his base, we make our way back to the Questline and go on to defend the Guardians of Armadil from Lucian's forces. We also make a truth serum to find out Lucian's plans from a spy within Falador. It's here that we then gather the troops, the boys, the Avengers of RuneScape, Joradel, Hazelmere, Mazchina, and Torael. Obviously we need 3 Slayer Masters and an old gnome mage. Who else could stop Lucian? Maybe Gnome Child if he ever admitted to being a god, but that day has yet to pass. But wait, you thought that those 4 absolute units were the only ones we recruit? Hold your horses, because we also need to recruit Gommel, Haralak, Sloan, and Sarissus. It's almost like a Hollywood blockbuster cast of characters. Before the final showdown, we venture forth and go into the depths of the Black Knight basement, rescue a Temple Knight agent, and leave quickly, as it turns out the Surok is working with the Black Knights and Lucian. Donning the best Surok disguise, we infiltrate Lucian's camp near the God Wars dungeon, and make our way to the chapel nearby, seeing Lucian emerge from a cave and raise several undead heroes. Though our disguise is immaculate, Lucian sees through us and attacks us, with the rest of the Avengers, or Fellowship as they call themselves, being teleported into battle. Now I will say some spoilers here, some major character deaths do occur, so if you'd rather keep it a surprise, you're probably best turning off the video now. But if you do that, then thank you for watching, and I really appreciate any support. But let's carry on. Joradel the Goth, Chorel, Hazelmere, Sloan, Sarissus and Gommel are all slain by Lucian. All of them perish before Lucian sends more guards to attack us, and we narrowly escape with our life. We go down into the depths of Lumbridge Swamp and talk to Mahjarrat while we're disguised as Surok, and he believes that the Stone of Jas resides within, but there's no way to reach it. We volunteer and head down the chasm, finding the Temple of Balance. Inside, we solve a puzzle and head into the inner chamber, where we have to kill a balance elemental which guards the Stone of Jas. This leaves the Stone of Jas open to us, but it also leaves the stone unguarded, with Lucian appearing and summoning 2 tormented demons as he teleports away with the stone in tow. Once defeated, we are teleported away and finish the quest. Short, right? But I guess that's just the TLDR of it. You still with me? Not falling asleep? I hope so, but here we are. We now know what happened in OSRS leading up to while Guthix Sleeps, and what the rough outline of WGS is from RuneScape 3. So how will the old school version be different? It's very likely that the quest will play out very similarly to the RuneScape 3 version, in the sense that Lucian is the main villain, and we need to stop him from getting the Stone of Jas. Though, and here's my main prediction, I do think that Sliske is going to be involved in the quest. Whether it's going to be in a disguise, as he's done to us a lot throughout the questline, or just as himself, it's very likely that he'll be involved. This conclusion comes from an interweaving plotline that spans the majority of the Mahjarrat questline. While in RuneScape 3, Sliske aided Zaros coming back to Gielinor, in Old School, he doesn't. In fact, he goes the extra mile to ensure that Zaros can't come back, so much that when Azanadra asks him to retrieve artifacts to help him in contacting Zaros, he agrees, but decides instead to go against him and destroy the artifacts. We see him take the artifact during Devious Minds, the strange icon from the Barrows during Faithful Servants, and it's mentioned that he destroyed the Frostenhorn during our time in Gorok, leaving Azanadra in shock and confusion. Though Sliske does say he'll meet us in the north, like every bloody Mahjarrat has told us, that doesn't necessarily mean he won't be working behind the scenes. Maybe he'll show up and betray Lucian. I mean, he stole the Elderhorn, which is an Elder artifact, so who's to say that he isn't eyeing up the Stone of Jas as well, making some kind of Infinity Gem style of Elder artifacts. All we know is that the mods aren't planning to do Ritual of the Mahjarrat, but instead doing their own finale. They'll be unique to old school, so that's exciting at least. But hey, I'm probably wrong. That's just what was running through my mind as I was writing this video. What do you guys think? What do you think will be different during while Guthix sleeps? I've tried to keep clear of many Sliske spoilers within RS3, but as I've said, the devs are going to be going their own way, so it'll be interesting to see what they've got. But anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.